Distinguished colleagues, the prayers are well engrafted and well spelled out here, and I seek your leave to lay this important petition.
Please go ahead. Honorable Dennis.
Thank you. Honorable Ian Zazal, PhD. Mr. Speaker, my name is Honorable Dennis Nnamdi Abu. I represent the highly enterprising people of Igbo today in the federal constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Enugu State. Mr. Speaker, I have a petition from my constituents in the name of Obola for Youth Advocates. They are petitioning this House against the harassment, terrorism, extortion by a team of Nigerian police people led by a certain ASP, Dumbiri. This petition is on extrajudicial killing, illegal policing, and brutalization by the Nigerian police led by ASP Dumbiri and his team from Osuka Area Command. Mr. Speaker, the prayers of this youth who we have just prevailed on them to keep the peace, to maintain the peace, and rather come through this house of the Nigerian people. They are signed by 20 of them, and their prayers are well spelled out in the body of the prayers. With your kind permission, Mr. Speaker, I would like to approach the chair and lay the petition. Please go ahead.
Any more petitions? Yes, Honorable Ifeanyi.
Godwin Nnamdi Uguala for unlawful eviction from their house and the withholding of the money paid to him and the continuous threatening and harassment. The clause of their petition is well spelled out, and I wouldn't want to waste the time of the House. I seek the leave of the House to lay the petition, Your Excellency.
Please go ahead, sir. Honorable Ikenga.
The good people of Idaho North, Idaho South Federal Constituency, and from Imo State. Mr. Speaker, I have a petition from a group of 14 police officers who are one is from my constituent, Petition is against their unlawful retirement from Nigerian Police Force and refusal by the Police Service Commission to reinstate them despite a substituting court judgment, and seeking the help of this House to help solve it. And secondly, is a petition from Caroline Onyaganam, who is seeking the intervention of the House in a matter concerning brutal assault, criminal conspiracy, denial of fundamental human rights, as well as a move to demolish her family house situated at Waro, Apo District FCT, and a call for the House to help resolve the issue. This offensive is being carried by one Musa Todo and Ilya Bulus. With your kind permission, Mr. Speaker, I want to proceed to lay the petition.
Please go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, I'm from Benin City, Edo State, the heartbeat of the nation. Mr. Speaker, I have a petition here from the indigenous people of Ugbawa community, Benin City, against the management of the University of Benin Teaching Hospital, particularly Mrs. Christabel Ito Osawaro Loku, and the management staff of Federal Ministry of Land, Housing, and Urban Development, Benin Zone. This petition is for the illegal conversion, fraudulent sale of our federal government acquired land at Ugbawa, Benin City, the criminal misappropriation of the proceeds running into hundreds of millions of naira, official corruption and abuse of office. Mr. Speaker, this petition is signed by Pa Andrew Ifaluyu Ekwe, Chief Osamige Ero, Elder Benjamin Yari, and Honorable Osaimore Ojo. Mr. Speaker, with your leave and the leave of the House, I would like to step forward to lay this petition.
Please go ahead and lay. Honorable Ledu. Oh, is it Matthew? No, Edu. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Honorable Engineer Idu Emeka G. I represent Onitsha North and Onitsha South Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Anambra State. I have a petition from one of my constituents, Chief Ifeanyi Ilo. This petition is duly signed by his legal practitioner, FAR Obi Okafo. And the petition is on illegal and fraudulent auctioning of Toyota Highlander with chassis number JTEDP Ifeanyi Ilo by the Nigerian Customs Service, Tinkan Command. Mr. Speaker, with the leave and leave of the House, may I lay the petition?
Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Ambarura.
Mr. Speaker, my respected colleagues, I'm Honorable Bello Issa Ambarura. I'm representing the people of Godaba and Elela Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Sokoto State. Mr. Speaker, my respected colleagues, I have a petition from one Sergeant Abubakar for a wrongful dismissal from service. In that respect, he has written to the Committee of House on Public Petition in order to do something for this injustice and unfair termination of service, or from service. Mr. Speaker, the League of the House and the members of this Honorable House, I would like to raise the petition on behalf of Sergeant Abubakar Idris. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Please go ahead. Any more petitions? Honorable Fatoba.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, presenting this petition. May I seek for your kind permission?
Petitions? Honorable, okay? Yeah, are you okay for today on public petitions for further legislative action? Honorable Jajere, thereby directed to rise and move his motion.
Name is Engineer Mohammed Buba Jajere. I represent the good people of Fika Fune Federal Constituency. I am from Yobe State. I have a matter here of urgent public importance on the urgent need to provide security following armed robbery attack at Ngalda Market, Fika local government area of Yobe State. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder to the first leg? Can't see the...
Ngalda people are known to be peace-loving people and do go about their daily activities, including trading without any form of intimidation and violence of any part. Further note that on the 20th day of January, a group of unknown armed robbers attacked Ngalda Market in Fika local government area and carted away goods and cash worth millions of naira. Worried that the armed men in the process of this despicable act, 17 lives were lost, while several others sustained varying degree of life-threatening injuries. Disturbed that this attack is one of so many being perpetrated, not only in Yobe State, but the country at large, while the perpetrators of these heinous acts sometimes go scot-free. Concerned that while our security agencies are doing their best, more needs to be done to rid our dear nation of these criminal elements living in our midst. The House therefore resolves to direct relevant government agencies such as Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, National Emergency Management Agency, Northeast Development Commission, the Small and Medium Scale Enterprise Development Agency, SMEDAN, and the Nigeria Police and other military outfits through appropriate committees of the House to 1, provide financial assistance and relief materials to traders and families of the deceased affected by the attack. 2, offer free medical assistance and support to the victims. 3, provide adequate protection and security measures for the market and its environs. And 4, investigate the incident thoroughly and bring the perpetrators to justice. I so move, Mr. Speaker. Thank you so much.
Importance with the topic of a call for immediate improvement of operations at the Absan and Garaku toll gates in Nasarawa State. I move that it's urgent and our rules be suspended to enable me to take this motion. I so move.
Any seconder to the first leg of the motion? Honorable Tafoki.
Right Honorable Speaker, sir, very distinguished colleagues, I remain Honorable Engineer Shehu Alhatu Tafoki. I represent Pascali.
The House notes that the House eulogizes the initiative of the toll operations by the federal government on the Abuja-Akwanga-Lafia-Makurdi Road corridor to repay the $460.8 million loan obtained from the China Exim Bank for the road's rehabilitation and upgrade, which was officially launched on Tuesday, 4th February 2025. The House also notes that these toll gates are intended to generate revenue for road maintenance, just as we have in other areas of the world and parts of Nigeria like the airports, the Lekki toll gates. Also, payment options usually include electronic methods and cash options. In some cases, payments can be made in advance, and a sticker placed on your car for electronic payments which make movement seamless for the commuters. The House is worried that the toll operations on the Abuja-Akwanga axis have instead become a major source of hardship and frustration for Nigerians, as current operational modalities for running them have resulted in severe traffic congestion, turning what should be a relatively short journey into an agonizing ordeal. For instance, a journey from Lafia to Abuja, which previously took approximately 2 hours 30 minutes, now stretches to an unbearable 5 hours or more. Aware that this dramatic increase in travel time has significantly negatively impacted on commuters, on businesses, and the overall economy. It causes delays in delivery of goods and services, increases fuel consumption, and leads to loss of productivity. More importantly, it inflicts immense stress and hardship on individuals, families, and businesses. This even led to a scenario where a woman delivered a child on the road during one of these traffic incidences due to no movement of traffic. The House is also aware that a good portion of the road has not been completed, and these areas of construction are constituting a death trap, as a lot of my constituents have lost their lives in crossing the road due to the non-organized nature of traffic because of the construction work. The House is concerned that the situation is rapidly deteriorating and, if left unchecked, has the potential to escalate into a chaotic and anarchic situation. We cannot afford to ignore this pressing issue. The House is also concerned that this is about the only road that tolls are being collected in the country as of now, which is against the principle of federal character. All collections of rolls should start at the same time. The House therefore resolves to call on the federal government to improve the operational framework of the Garako-Abson toll gates immediately, mandate the relevant committees of the House to investigate the contract concerning the toll gates, the operations of these toll gates. This investigation should include, but not limited to, the reasons for the persistent traffic congestion, the feasibility of alternative traffic management systems, and uniformity of toll collections all over the world. And lastly, urge the relevant government agencies to explore immediate alternative solutions to alleviate traffic congestion in the short term at all toll gates by considering as an interim emphasis, a manual cash collection system to replace the current electronic tax collection system, just as is done at the Nnamdi International Airport, till a more lasting and efficient solution is found. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? Honorable Umaru.
Peter Anekwe. I represent the good people of Anambra East and West. I'm from Anambra State. Mr. Speaker, rise this morning under Arrow 5 to enable me to take this motion of urgent importance. Motion on the need to critically wade into the ongoing crisis between the Ebago Aguleri and Umuoji Umuobanam. I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder to the first leg of the motion? Can I see the face properly? Yes, please.
Ms. Honorable Peter Anekwe, I represent the good people of Anambra East and West. I'm from Anambra State. The House knows that Ebago Aguleri and Umuoji Umuobanam community in Anambra East and West Federal constituency of Anambra State are currently immersed in a brutal land dispute for over 2 weeks now. Also note that the ongoing crisis has escalated to other communities in Aguleri and Anam, leaving many dead, many people injured, and so many others displaced. Concerned that the right of life, dignity of human person, personal liberty, and right to movement constitute imperative aspect of the fundamental human rights, as enshrined in 99 Constitution of the Federal Government, Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. Regret that if the ongoing crisis is not urgently managed, it will continue to pose a negative to the fundamental human rights herein itemized, with destruction of more life and property as its devastating result. That the ongoing House resolved to urge the security agencies to forestall further brutality and restore peace and tranquility in the cited communities. Also urge the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction through the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to swiftly provide requisite humanitarian assistance to victims and manage the ongoing crisis. To mandate the House Committee on Emergency and Management Agency and legislative compliance to ensure the manifestation of the resolve hearing. To observe a minute silence for those who lost their life in the process of this crisis. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Is Honorable Moses Oluwatoyin Fainkam, member representing Mushin True Federal Constituency of Lagos. Just to put a record, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Okay, I should give the report to you. Okay.
Since the man from Ikorodu is around, we thought they are trapped in...
Mr. Speaker, my esteemed colleagues, I am Honorable Bello Issa Ambarura, representing Gwarabawa Ilela Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Sokoto State. Mr. Speaker, I rise up to submit a report on the Conference Committee on a bill for an act to prohibit the exportation of maize or its derivatives in large commercial quantities out of Nigeria and for related matters. Mr. Speaker, I would like to crave the indulgence of the House to lay the report for further legislative actions. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? Rashid.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Bamidele Salam. I represent the North and the South Egbedore Ejigbo Federal Constituency of Osun State. Mr. Speaker, I rise this morning to move that the bill for an act to repeal the National Lottery Act number 7 of 2005 and the National Lottery Amendment Act number 6 of 2017 and to enact the Central Gaming Bill to regulate the operation and business of all forms of online and remote gaming across the geographical boundaries of the federating unit and beyond the borders of Nigeria, provide for the conduct of gaming in the Federal Capital Territory and enhanced revenue generation for the Federation and for related matters, be read for the second time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? The leader has concluded the business of the day.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Sit where you are, don't get up. Mr. Speaker, I'm Professor Julius Ionvere Owen, Owan Federal Constituency, Edo State. I rise to move that a bill for an act to amend the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act, Cap A12, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria of 2004, as amended, to make provision for the establishment of Federal College of Agriculture and Animal Husbandry, Talase, Gombe State, and for related matters, SB 297, be read the second time. This is a Senate bill.
Okay. The minority leader, please can you second?
Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion as very well moved by the House Leader. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Abdul Mumin Jibrin. I represent Iru Bebeji Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, with the leave of Mr. Speaker, at the House, with the leave of the House, I rise to move for a bill for an act to establish the Kofa Bebeji Entrepreneurs University, Kano State, to provide for full-time courses, teaching, instructions, and training in technology, applied science, art and social sciences, humanities and management, and for related matters. I here move for this bill to be read for the second time, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Hassan Hussein, let it be. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. This is Honorable
Dr. Tajuddin Abbas, GCON. My honorable colleagues, I rise this morning to move that a bill for an act to establish lower court, designated district and magistrate courts for the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, with jurisdiction over civil and criminal causes and matters, and for the appointment of district court judges and magistrates and of other court officers, and for other purposes relating to or connected with the administration of civil and criminal justice, and for related matters, HB 1947, be read the second time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Bello Isa Ambarura, I'm representing the people of Gwadabawa and Ilela Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from Sokoto State. Mr. Speaker, my esteemed colleagues, I rise up to present a motion on a rescission of Clause 14, subsection 2, B, C, and D of the Southwest Development Commission Bill 2025. Pursuant to Order 9, Rule 1, subsection 6 of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives. Mr. Speaker, the House may wish to know that the Southwest Development Commission Bill Establishment HB 283/2024 was passed by the National Assembly. Aware of the need to rescind the provisions of Clause 14, subsection 2, B, C, and D of the bill to be in tandem with the similar federal government bodies. Cognizance of the need to incorporate the new changes into the bill. Resolve, resign its decision on the Clause 14, 2, Section B, C, and D of the bill and recommit same to the Committee of the Whole for consideration. Mr. Speaker, by distinguished list, I so submit. Thank you.
I represent Ikeja Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion ably moved by the Chairman of Business and Rules. I so second.
Those in support of Honorable Namchi is hereby invited to move the motion. Honorable Paul.
The lead, Professor Namchi, is talking this motion on the alleged fraudulent practices in the payment of contractors by the Office of the Federal Ministry of Finance and Office of the Accountant General of the Federation. On this with me is Professor Paul Namchi and Honorable Aminu Sani Jaji. The House knows that the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, mandates transparency, accountability, and prudent management of public funds as fundamental principles of governance. Also knows that Section 15, sub 5 of the Constitution provides that, quote, the state shall abolish all corrupt practices and abuse of power, unquote, which underscores the government's obligation to prevent, investigate, and punish malfeasance practices, particularly in public finance management. Observes there are reports of contractors being coerced into offering kickbacks or facing unjustified deductions from their payments as a condition for processing their invoices by officials of the Federal Ministry of Finance. Alarmed that corrupt practices in contractor payments lead to abandonment of critical infrastructure projects, loss of jobs, and economic hardship, contrary to the objectives of the present administration's economic recovery efforts. Worried that the unrestrained continuation of these practices discourages credible investors and undermines faith in the government's ability to uphold transparency and accountability. Also worried that if these allegations are not thoroughly investigated and addressed, contractors will lose confidence in the government's engagements, leading to slowed economic development and failed infrastructure projects nationwide. Appreciates that this situation demands an urgent and decisive response in line with Section 88, sub 1 and 2,
that empowers the National Assembly to investigate any matter related to the administration of laws within its legislative competence and conduct any official or department responsible for public revenue and expenditure. Resolves to 1, urge the federal government to A, strengthen internal controls and enforce strict penalties for officials found culpable in corrupt practices within the payment system, and B, establish a transparent and accountable digital payment system to eliminate discretionary human interference in contract payments, ensure timely disbursement and compliance with due process, and 2, mandate the committees on finance to investigate the allegations of fraudulent practices in the payment of contractors by officials of Federal Ministries of Finance and Accountant General's Office in the past 3 years to identify the perpetrators and recommend appropriate sanctions and report within 4 weeks for further legislative action. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? Honorable Stanley.
Of our time. Abdul Ghani Wadile Ayuba is my name. I speak for and on behalf of Alimosho Federal Constituency, the most populated federal constituency in the country. Mr. Speaker, with the leave of this distinguished House, I rise to move this important motion that rests solely on the need to investigate the budget expenses and activities of all Nigeria Research Institute from 2010 to date. Mr. Speaker, the House notes that over 65 Nigeria Research Institutes were established with the core mandate of conducting research in various fields of knowledge for scientific, social, and economic development of this country. The House also noted that in carrying out their core mandate, funds were proposed by these research institutes annually in the national budget to carry out their obligation efficiently and effectively. Aware that over the years, the National Assembly, in exercise of its constitutional duties, approved billions of naira to this research institute to conduct research to advance the technological, social, and economic development of the nation. Mr. Speaker, the House concerned that notwithstanding the huge amount of money budgeted in the various appropriation acts and released to this research institute, there is little evidence to support the substantial amount released for their researches. The House also concerned that the core mandate of this research institute may not be achieved and the nation's scarce resources may continue to go down the drain. The House taking cognizance of the need to investigate the activities of this research institute vis-a-vis 1, the budgetary releases from 2010 to date and their implementation for the purpose of which the money were budgeted for. 2, the outcome of the research and feasible impact of the technological, social, and economic development of the nation. The House hereby resolved to mandate the Committee on Science Research Institute, Science Technology, Science Engineering, and National Agencies for Science and Engineering, NASA, to investigate the activity of the Research Institute vis-a-vis budget releases from 2010 to date, their utilization and research outcome, to determine the level of their compliance in achieving their core mandates. Mr. Speaker, I hereby move. Thank you for this rare opportunity.
Where we have the best performing governor, Professor Sachuku Masoludo. Mr. Speaker, I have a motion calling on the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, to pay off all outstanding contract debts to contractors that have completed their contract within the commission. The House notes that the Niger Delta Development Commission was established to ameliorate the standard of living of the people of the region due to ecological challenges faced as a result of exploration of oil minerals in the Niger Delta area. Also note that to improve the living standard of the people of the region, in provision of goods and services, also in provision of social infrastructure, the Commission engages the services of contractors which are from various parts of the country. Aware that most of these contractors take loans from banks using their property as collateral to execute those contracts with the hope of being paid at the completion of the contract. Also aware that where these payments are not met within the required period, those properties used as collateral are thereafter confiscated by banks. And this has been the fate of most contractors engaged by NDDC in the last 8 years or more. Concerned that most contractors that have been engaged by the Commission in the last 8 years have complained of non-payment of contract award even after completing their contract award. Also concerned that non-payment have left most of those contractors homeless, heavily burdened with debt, leading to untimely death of some contractors. Further concerned that this has brought a very negative reputation to the Commission and to Nigeria, being a commission established by the Act of the National Assembly of Nigeria. The House resolved, Mr. Speaker, to mandate the House Committee on NDDC to investigate the matter with a view of identifying the contractors, determine the total outstanding debt, recommend payment plan, and report back within 6 weeks for further legislative actions. Mr. Speaker, I so move. Thank you.
My name is Weke Felix Uche. I represent Eleme Tai, Oyibo Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, this is a very good motion. I'm sure that if NDDC has money, they will pay. But then, if you check the heading of the motion and the prayers, it does not go. The prayers shows that this should be an investigative motion. And at the same time, the heading is calling on Niger Delta Development Commission to pay off. You have arrived at a conclusion to pay off. And at the same time, you are mandating NDDC Committee of the House to investigate, verify, ascertain how much they are owing. I think that this motion should be withdrawn and recast properly, sir. Thank you.
So what are you amending?
My amendment change the heading.
Any seconder to that? I agree with you.
The prayers read. The House mandated the Committee on NDDC to investigate the matter. To investigate, one, with the view of identifying the contractors. When they investigate, they identify the contractors and those people that were owed, that were being owed since 8 years. Then determine the outstanding contract debt. To determine the debt, the amount that were being owed. And then recommend payment plan.
Honorable Pascal, read it again.
Okay.
Read it again.
Okay.
You said to investigate the non-payment of the outstanding contracts.
House mandate the Committee on NDDC to investigate the matter with a view of identifying the contractors.
Where is it written like that? That's not what I have here. Read what is on the other paper.
mandate the committee on NDDC, National Development Commission, to investigate. Okay, no, the prayer.
We are relying on what is on the order paper, not what you have personally.
Okay,
do you now understand why he is making that case?
I have to amend the prayer, Mr. Speaker.
So he's amending it now.
Okay.
For you.
Okay. The people that typed it, that is not from.
Well, that is not what you should be telling us here. It's what is on the order paper that you also are also supposed to read, not what you have on your personal documents. So anyone to second the amendment raised? Honorable Martins.
Thank you. I represent the people of Oron, Mbu, Okobo, Udunko, Urefo Orugo Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Akwa Ibom State. Mr. Speaker, mine is not to second. It is clear that there's a disjoint between the title of this motion and the prayers of the motion. So I want to move that this motion be stepped down pending a proper reconciliation of the title of the motion and the prayers of the motion. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues,
you cannot raise another prayer or amendment when there is an existing one that has not been seconded. Anyone who is willing to second the first amendment, 61,358,925 naira only is for statutory transfers. 14,317,142,689,548 naira only is for the debt service. 13,64,9,682,673 naira only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 23,963,251,624,250 naira only is for contribution to the development fund for capital expenditure for the year ending 31st December 2025. Standing in the name of Honorable Abubakar Kabir Abubakar. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read to the committee on Thursday, 19 December 2024. The report is ready for presentation. Therefore, Honorable Abubakar is hereby invited to present the report.
My name is Abubakar Kabir Bichi, member representing Bichi Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Kano State. I rise to present the report of the Committee on Appropriation that the House do receive the report of the Committee on Appropriation on the bill of an act to authorize the issue from the consolidated revenue funds of the Federation the total sum of 54,990,165,355,396 naira, of which 3,644,761,358,925 naira only is for statutory transfers. 14,317,189,548 only is for debt service. 13,064,9,682,673 only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 23,963,251,624,250 only is for contribution to the development funds for capital expenditure for the year ending on the 31st December 2025. Mr. Speaker, I so present.
Honorable Garwe.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my very highly respected colleagues. My name is Right Honorable Igariwe Iduma Enwu. I represent Afikpo and Eda Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker. I'm from Ebonyi State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second this motion that we do receive this very important report. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is have it. Right, honorable colleagues, to continue with the consideration of the reports of tourism back. Okay. Honorable Jimmy, please. $990 billion, 165,355,396 naira only, which 3,645,761,358,925 naira only is for statutory transfers. 14,317,142,689,548 naira only is for debt service. 13,64,9,682,673 naira only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure. While the sum of 23,963,254,250 naira only is for contribution to the Development Fund for Capital Expenditure for the year ending 31st December 2025. Honorable members will recall that the report was laid on Thursday, 13 February 2025. Honorable Abubakar Bichi, the Chairman Appropriation, will move for its consideration.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Honorable colleagues. Madi Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker, from Kano State. I rise to move that the House do consider the report of the Committee on Appropriation of the Bill of an Act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation the total sum of 54,990,165,355,306 naira, of which 3,645,761,358,925 naira only is for statutory transfers. 14,342,189,548 only is for debt service. 13,064,9,682,673 only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 23,951,624,250,000 only is for contribution to the Development Fund for Capital Expenditure for the year ending on 31st December 2025. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Chairman Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is James Abiod. I represent the people of Ikeja Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second that this report for 2025 appropriation be read the second time. Thank you, sir.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against, the ayes have it. Leader, can you move that the House resolve into the Committee of Supply?
That's to resolve to Committee of Supply to consider the report just presented. I so move.
I represent the good people of Njikok and Ocha Federal Constituency. I arise to second the motion moved by our leader that this House resolved to Committee of Whole. I so move.